Hey everybody, and welcome to our Marvy and Rob's, or Rob and Marvy, Marvy and Rob and Jackson's Nomadic kitchen. And last week or a little while ago, you saw Marvy making some chicken mole, and now it's my turn to cook in the kitchen. Now the whole idea of what we're going to be doing this year with our Nomadic kitchen is to talk to people about ideas, give folks ideas on how to cook on the road. A lot of the times that you either have a very small refrigerator or small cooler. Maybe you're some guy that doesn't have a lot of experience on doing it. So what we're trying to do is just kind of give you some ideas to break you from your normal habit of hot dogs or Campbell's soup with rice or whatever. So just kind of giving you guys some ideas. Now, if you're home, of course, watching this, you have a full kitchen probably. And but the whole approach of this is things that you can do, and you can't get really much smaller than, you know, three of us, Marvy, myself, and Jackson, living in a small van where you can't even stand up in a very small kitchen. So if we can do it, you can do it. And so here we go. One of the things I think about making all the time, and what we really like, is fish. And you know, I love to fish, Marvy loves to fish, but like right now we're in the desert. There's not a lot of, I mean, they call them rockfish, but for some reason they're never where the rocks are. They're in the water. So we have to figure out where to go. And we can buy frozen shrimp and different things like that in the store. But sometimes you just want to pull something off the shelf. And I have found that salmon is a great thing. It's really high on your omegas, and it's got the oils you need. If you don't eat a lot of it, you don't have to worry about the mercury. It's pretty flexible. You can make cold salmon salads, sandwiches, and different types of things with it, and it tastes pretty darn good. But today what we're going to do is fry them up and make salmon patties, and you can eat those after you cook them just on a bed of rice or on a piece of lettuce, or break them up onto a salad. We're going to actually eat them like a hamburger today, just because it's something we're going to do. So it gives you a little bit of variety in your life. But canned salmon is something that you can have on your shelf. It's not going to go bad. It's not like fresh fish or anything that you have to eat right away. So it's good to have a can of salmon. They're like $4. So how do we get the salmon? Well, you got different choices. If you can't catch one yourself, then the only other option is to go to the store. Now, we went to Walmart, and of course, you know, when you go into Walmart, the great thing about Walmart is you can get everything you want in one place: clothing, groceries, automotive, hardware, sporting goods, medicines, pharmacies, any of that stuff. Alcohol, you can get your alcohol there. But we went into the section that has the canned tuna, and this is where you're going to find the canned salmon. Now, canned salmon, like I said, is about $4. Now, if you don't like canned salmon, you can buy the not fresh salmon, but frozen salmon, and it's about the same amount. You can get 4 small fillets for $4 at Walmart. And what I do is I steam those in water a little bit, and kind of cook them first, and then take them off there, and then if there's any bones, take them out, and then do the exact same thing I'm going to be doing now. The best bet is canned salmon for today's purposes, and I do it a lot. So first thing to do is you got to get rid of all of that water and drain that water out, and do that. Now, before I go any further, I want to talk about all of the ingredients. Now, we have all the ingredients laid out for you. As you can see, you know, we have the green peppers, we've got the onions, we've got the celery, we've got the cilantro, we've got the buns, the salmon. I'll even have my beer if if that's so much. A couple things I didn't put on that table to show you that you need are three things: breadcrumbs, an egg, and flour. And you're going to see how we put all of that together. So the first thing that you want to do is maybe ahead of time saute up your onions and your celery and bell pepper. And in Louisiana they call that the Trinity when you're cooking. If you're making gumbo or anything, the Trinity are onions, celery, and bell pepper, which are perfect in this salmon dish also. Now, I'm not going to show you how to dice them all up. You know how to use a knife and you know how to cut vegetables. But if you don't, I have a special bowl and I use these, and these are called magical dicing bowls. So if you look real carefully, I'm about to show you how I can dice an onion or half an onion so easily without even using a knife. And this is all I do, is I just drop the onion and poof, it's all done. Okay, so if you happen to have one of these magical dicing bowls, that's great. If not, you're just going to have to grab a knife and do it yourself. Okay, so let's get started here. What we're going to do is we're going to take the salmon and take it out and remove the can. Now, salmon has been put into the can and then cooked at a very high temperature, so high that the bones themselves have become very soft and you don't need to remove them. Most people just mix it up with the skin and eat it, and the skin is fine. But we have somebody else who likes skin here, and so we're going to give him the salmon water and the skin. Let me just clean up some of that, because somebody likes that besides us. All right, so we've got the salmon in the bowl. So all I have to do is just add these sauteed into this. Now, you don't have to do this. You can actually add the onions and green pepper and celery raw, and that gives it a really fresh, kind of a popping, crispy flavor to it. This gives it a little bit more subtle, sweeter flavor. It just depends on what you like. That's all it really is. So I've added that. The other thing I've done is I've taken some of the cilantro. Now, some people use parsley. Marvy is not partial to parsley. Say that 5 times. Partial to parsley, partial to parsley. All right. But both of us love cilantro. Now, did you know that I think 10% of the population, or some small percentage, for many of people, cilantro tastes like soap, and it's not a cry for help. They're not trying to get attention or be obnoxious. It really does taste like soap to people, to some people. So just be aware that if you have a dinner party and someone really doesn't want to eat the cilantro, they have a reason to do that. So anyway, I'll break that up a little bit, mix all of that in. There's a little salmon skin left. I'm going to set this aside for Jackson's dinner. Now what we need to do is we take 1 egg in here, and the egg is again going to bind it. 2 eggs doesn't bind it more. 1 egg is more than enough. Kind of mix that in, and I'm trying to do it not to break up the salmon too much, but it's going to break up, I'm sure. Now, the other thing that I wanted to let you know is that sometimes I will use a Creole type seasoning in here, or even Old Bay. But again, a lot of you guys are living in a car, you're living in an SUV, you're living in a minivan, you're living in a small van, or you're just not a great cook and you just don't need 1,000 different spices. So this tastes great just by itself with salt and pepper. So it's kind of moist here. Now the trick here is you want to put some breadcrumbs in. Now, one thing that would work really well, I put them away, are if you want to kind of multitask and save space and you don't want to carry a lot of breadcrumbs, just get some Ritz crackers. If you have a box of Ritz crackers and you like to eat them, you always have instant kind of buttery breadcrumbs. You can just crumble them up and that would work also. So that's a really good idea to save space simply by using one product for several different things. But we use a lot of breadcrumbs for different things, usually breading things. So you just put this, and a lot of people say, well, Rob, how much, what are your measurements in there? It's about this much, okay? That's about all. So I'm just kind of mixing this all together here, okay? And that is pretty much it. That's all there is to that. All right, so next we're going to do is we're going to make the patties. Now, since we're going to be frying these probably in butter, I want to roll them or coat them lightly in flour. And I know flour takes up space and you're very limited. You don't have to do it, but I use flour for a lot of things. If I do want to fry some chicken or anything else that I might want to use flour for, you can make Navajo fry bread, which I think maybe I'll do up in the future. If there's anything particular that you like to use when you're on the road, but if you have a recipe or you have something that you would like us to try, that's something that we would consider. Write it down below. Okay, so I think I can get 4 patties out of this thing here. So I'm just going to cut it in half and in half just to kind of get an idea. I may make more than 4 because they're pretty large. But we're going to, no, I think 4. I think I can make 4 out of here. So I try not to squeeze them too tight. You don't want it to be too compressed. You know, you don't want to feel like you're eating a fish brick. You know, you want it. You want those breadcrumbs to have a chance to kind of expand with the egg yolk and the juices. And so that is basically what one of the patties would look like. You can make it a little flatter if you want. It doesn't have to be. Now there are bones in this salmon, again, but don't buy it if you don't want bones, because you're not really going to pick these bones out. They're just really soft, and it's not a big deal, really. And I'm a fish I hate fish with bones. Usually one bone in my mouth when I'm eating, and I'm kind of done for the day, because, you know. So my favorite way of eating fish is off the bone, like as a fillet. Halibut's my favorite fish. But if you watch some of our earlier fishing videos, I made one on making, I'll put the link right up here. We made trout scrambled eggs, and you can see how the trout meat just pulls off the bone. So I really don't have an issue with that, but check out that link. Okay, so here's your second patty. Pretty quick. I'm going to do the other 2, but I'm going to fast forward so you don't have to watch them. Okay, so we are all done with the patties. They are ready to go. The only thing I need to do now is we're going to eat these very simply, just on buns that have been kind of toasted in butter. Just have a little buttery flavor on them, a little bit of mayonnaise and on it, and then a little bit of lettuce, and that's it. Just kind of eat them like that. So here we are with the salmon patties, and salmon patties are being, again, you do the same thing. You add butter, and then you just put these patties in the frying pan, and you cook them on both sides. And I think we're ready to eat. I think it's all done. But I wanted to give you a couple other tips here. Again, I have the bread or the buns toasted, a little bit of lettuce. I've got salmon cakes over here in a minute. Now you can just use regular mayo, and most people do. I like to mix it with a little sriracha, not a whole lot, not to make it hot, but it just gives it a really unique flavor. And so I just put a little bit of mayo in, and just a little bit of sriracha, just to give it that little bit of a spice. Not much, just a little bit to balance out the salmon. Mix that all up. Put that on the bun. And again, these are things in a van that I have and I use all the time. Most of the time, the soups I eat, I'm always, chicken soups and stuff, I'm always dumping half a bottle of this in. So these are things I use all the time. Mayonnaise you use all the time for different things. My bologna sandwiches, yes sir, I use mayonnaise. Anything like that. So you know, that's pretty much it. Ooh, good. Not really strong, but good. And then here are the salmon cakes. They're all done, nice and fluffy, and just put one on each plate. I did make 4 of them. They are so big though for that little can. Now that can is $4. And of course the incidentals, a piece of lettuce, a little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of onion and celery and green pepper. So $4, so that's about $1 a piece for these things. Call it $1.50 at the most for all of the other things with it. Pretty economical for a meal, and that's even if you were to eat 2 of them, that's $3 for a complete meal, and you are stuffed. For us, one of these a piece is going to be good. This will be Marvy's right there. This will be mine right here. And I love these guys here. I was raised on these peppers. So put a couple of these on my plate to balance it out. And let's see what this guy tastes like. You know, living in the desert or living on the road in a van, having all the freedom you want, and being able to cook delicious meals in a simple way, it's just perfect. It's just really great. Well, not perfect. Van life and being a nomad is difficult in many ways. But don't lock yourself into, folks, just eating crappy food that's boring. I mean, you might be stuck in your RV or your car or your minivan or your van for days with rain. And one of the true pleasures you have is making something halfway decent that's so simple to do and really, really cheap. So Marvy and I are going to keep sharing with you some of our favorite ones and some of our experiments that we make on the road, and we'll throw those into our normal videos. And please write your comments if you like what you see. If you have a special recipe that you like, put it down there and share with everybody else, okay? And again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and follow us and give us a thumbs up if you appreciate the efforts we do, and follow any of the links below to our Patreon or our website to get any information about us. And other than that, we'll see you guys down the road. Where's my beer? Oh.